Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Tori if you're new here, and today I had an idea for a video. So I'm gonna sit down with you and chat, but I'm also going to clip to different videos that I have taken of some things that I think everyone should stock up on, but also everyone should have on hand. And some of these items are very new to me. Like I have said in the past, I am not brand new to preparedness or survivalism. I would like to say that's how I was raised. I was raised to be prepared, but some of these things are relatively new to me. So I wanted to share them with you. I'm very excited. All of the links will be in the description box if you want to get your hands on any of these, but I have about 5 items that I think everyone can stock up on a budget, and I think it's attainable for everyone. Of course, there are some items on here that maybe people aren't comfortable with, but we're going to talk about them anyways, and I hope it just opens your mind to some things that you can keep on hand to help yourself in the event of an emergency. So if you are new here, hi, hello, my name is Tori. I am a wife, mother of 3. We live here in northern Colorado, and we like to do everything preparedness, but we like to do it on a budget. So if you like that kind of thing, make sure you hit the subscribe button, and without further ado, let's get right into this list. Alrighty, this one's an easy one, but this week, instead of stocking up on dried rice and beans, I started stocking up on canned beans. I got to thinking, and in the event of an emergency, we'll need some water to cook those rice and beans, and I'd like to just have something that I can grab and go. So this kind of contributes to my 72-hour kit. And while I was in there, I was looking, and we have matches, we have certain ways to start a fire, but I wanted something a little more compact. I wanted something that had some bang for my buck. So I got these fire starters, and I think they're amazing. I think they're super budget friendly, and everyone can keep them on hand. They're odorless, which was a big one for me, and they're just user friendly. I'm not the best at starting a fire, I'm not gonna lie. In the event of an emergency, I will ask my husband to do it. Can I do it? Yeah, but there are, some downfalls to using flint and steel or using just a pack of matches. I, of course, have my camp stove ready to go, and that is from For Patriots. That one's really easy to start a fire for me, but I can't keep it going for a long time. So with that rice and beans stock up, it just led me into my 72-hour bag, and it led me into some items there that really weren't helpful. So I took a few things out, and I wanted to replace it with a few things. So that number one item on the list this week is going to be those fire starters. Again, great value for the 50 that you get in a pack. They're odorless, and I think it's awesome to have, especially if you need to cook out in the woods. Going back to those rice and beans, I am starting to just stock up on more canned items just because it will be easier to grab and go, easier to eat and prepare for my growing family, because there are 3 kids. They might get hungry in the event of an emergency. So I wanted to put that number 1 on the list. That one is an easy one. Number 2 on the list, I think everyone should stock up on precious metals, specifically gold and silver. And before we get too far into this, I want you to start thinking about ways that you can store it, not necessarily in your house. Of course, if you have a safe, fabulous, but maybe a safety security box at a bank, maybe a different place that no one knows about. We always talk about that second property where you can store some things. That would be a good place for it. With gold and silver being a universal currency, I think it will be a great thing to stock up on. And I am the first to tell you, I am pretty cheap. So gold is pretty expensive. Right now it is at a dip, but if you can't stock up on gold, try and find silver. It's actually relatively inexpensive, and if you figure out what is real silver versus some of those plated silvers, I think you will be all set. Of course, this is number 2 on the list, but this may take the back burner to food and water and other essentials like that, but I did want to mention precious metals because I haven't talked about it ever on this channel, and it's something that we stock up on. So if you find a secure place to stock up on those items, I think it's a great way to keep some currency on hand. Number 3 on this list is going to be self-defense, and that's a little daunting for some of you that watch my channel, but we're going to talk about it anyways. Of course, we stocked up on ammo 2 weeks ago or so. We don't do it every single week, but I think everyone should stock up on ammo, and of course, if you stock up on ammo, find a tool that you can use that ammo with. But moving into self-defense, a lot of people may think this is a little bit funny if you're a macho person that really doesn't believe in this kind of thing, but I'm a wife, I'm a mother, we go on hikes all the time, and I always have something to defend myself, but I wanted to find something a little extra. So I found these Foxy alarms, and they go up to 130 decibels. They're extremely loud. They don't have to be used for a predator. You could use it in the event of an emergency, essentially whenever you need help, and all you have to do is push this button. So it will be phenomenal to keep on the keychain. I am so excited. I just hope I never have to use it. Essentially, it is made to scare off your attacker. Of course, you would be, a threat to yourself in that situation because that would be very loud for you, but at least you would be prepared for it in my mind. So I'm still kind of new to it. I'm happy to have it. It's just a small little thing, and you can keep it in your 72-hour bag, or you could just keep it in your everyday bag, which is something that I have. Of course, being in Colorado, there are a lot of mountain lions. There are a lot of predators that aren't human, and hopefully that would help. I know animals hear sounds in different ways, so I'm not sure, but I know it would scare off something. It would scare off a predator. So I just wanted to add it in there just because there are some people that watch the channel that do not own guns and want a different way to defend themselves. So I'm always on the hunt for everybody. I'm definitely a crowd pleaser personality, so I never feel that one way is the best way to do things. And I think a lot of you have caught on to that, but if someone says, I can't do something, I go ahead and find a way to do it anyways. Number 4 on the list, this is random but important. That 72-hour kit led me into my car emergency kit. I will link that video. I've done one before. It's not necessarily like an emergency for your car. It's an emergency if you have to leave. So a bag that you can keep in your car, that is not a 72-hour emergency kit, if that makes sense. You can never be too prepared. So I keep it in the car, and I noticed we only had blankets, and yeah, blankets are great. It will keep you warm, but I wanted something that packed a punch, and I got this from my husband years ago, and he took it on a heli trip. He's a snowboarder, if you didn't know, so they went up a hut trip, essentially. So they hiked up a mountain, stayed in a Kwanzaa hut, and snowed down, but it was very, very cold. It was in the dead of winter. It was right off of Wolf Creek, if you are familiar with the Colorado area, down by Durango on the western slope anyways. But I got him this sleeping bag, and it kept him so warm, and he can't find it. So unfortunately, we did not have one. I went ahead and ordered the one that I will link in the description box, but it's phenomenal. It's super warm. It is a little pricey, but I feel like everyone should have one. Myself and a child or 2 could fit in here, or 3 right now because I have a newborn, but I think everyone should have one in the family. Of course, you can find a kid's one, but this sleeping bag is amazing. You can keep it in the car. It will not wither to the elements unless you live in the desert or a very, very cold environment. We experience all 4 seasons here in Colorado, so I'm comfortable keeping it in my car. But the greatest thing about it is it's very compact when you are putting it down. So I feel like that's important to have in the car, just so you're not taking up a ton of room. So that was number 4 on the list. Everyone should stock up on warmth for the car in case it breaks down. I always tell this story. When my husband and I first came out here to Colorado, we broke down in the middle of Rocky Mountain National Park. Luckily, we were able hours later to get the car going, but it was a moment in my life where I realized that we were very unprepared in that moment. I will say my husband and I are very spontaneous people. We moved across the country without jobs years ago. This was 10 years ago, and that's how we ended up in Colorado. But moving back into the story, it was scary. It was an epiphany moment for me that I was not prepared. And the day after is when I started getting into more of the survival gear, if that makes sense. So number 4 again on the list is going to be that sleeping bag, and I think everyone should have one. Alrighty, and then number 5 on the list, I got lucky at my King Soopers because it was in the clearance section, but charcoal. I stocked up on charcoal. Of course you can cook with charcoal, cook on it essentially, but there are other things you can do with charcoal. And this isn't necessarily a survivalism product, but it's something that you can keep on hand to cook in an emergency. So that's why I'm clumping it in here. I like to use charcoal in my home for different things. It draws out toxins, it draws out odors, so you can keep it in your refrigerator in a container and it will take the odor out of things. And it can also draw out some moisture as well. So I felt that it was necessary because we've been getting so much rain in Colorado, and I've heard that it deters bugs in your garden. So I just got a bag of it. It was $3, and I'm just putting it in my garden. I put some in my refrigerator. Of course, I have powdered charcoal always in my purse, always in my like everyday emergency bag, because it's a great detoxifying item. So you can encapsulate it, and if your kid, I don't know, happens to swallow something poisonous or something poisonous is on them, you can have them take a capsule if you're comfortable with that, and it will help until you get to another emergency location like a hospital or something like that. But that's one thing I keep on hand, and they go right alongside my yarrow. I dry my yarrow and I encapsulate it, and then we can use that for wound control if ever we have a scenario where we have an open wound. You can put yarrow powder on it and it will help, but that's besides the point. Of course, I digress in this list. Charcoal. It's super inexpensive. I feel like if you can find it on sale, normally at the end of like a barbecue season, you can use it in so many different ways. So stock up on charcoal. Alrighty, my friends, that is going to do it for today's list. I hope this was short and sweet and to the point. Let me know if you're enjoying these videos where we sit down and chat, and I give you at least 5 things that I think you can be stocking up on the cheap. I know some of you love the homesteading content, but if you want to watch some of those videos, I have another channel. I will link that down below, and that's more mom content and what we do here on our homestead. So definitely check that out if you're into that. All of the links of products that I mentioned will be linked in the description box below. Let me know what videos you want to see next. I hope you all are doing amazing. As always, stay adventurous, stay creative. I'll catch you on the next one. Bye, everyone.